It's the middle of the night. Your mouth is dry, so you get up and pad across the cold floor to the kitchen. You open the fridge. The light spills out into the dark, and for a second, it's the only light in the whole house. You grab a bottle of water, drink half of it standing right there. And then you notice it, right next to the water. The steak you marinated last night, sitting there, wrapped up, ready. Tomorrow, you're going to sear it in a hot pan, and it's going to be perfect. You close the fridge door. The kitchen goes dark again. You start walking back to bed. And then, for just a second, a strange thought hits you. Something died for that steak to exist. Someone somewhere killed it. Was that always someone else's job? Or was there a time when it had to be you? Because for almost all of human history, there was no fridge, no supermarket, no one to do it for you. If you wanted meat, you killed it yourself. And if you were slow or careless or just unlucky, something else killed you first. So how thin was that line really? Between the hunter and the hunted? There was one rule in that world. Only one. Kill or be killed. No police to call. No hospital 10 minutes away. No law standing between you and the thing that wanted you dead, animal, or human. If your group couldn't protect you, nothing could. That single rule shaped everything. Picture a small group of people huddled around a low fire at the edge of a valley, deciding whether to move at first light or wait one more day. That one decision could be the difference between finding food and starving, between missing a predator's trail and walking straight into it. The rule decided who ate and who starved, who came home and who didn't. It didn't care if you were strong, smart, or kind. It only cared if you were fast enough or clever enough to still be breathing tomorrow. So let's start with the side of that rule most people picture first. How could they kill you? Picture this. Tall grass. 100,000 years ago. The sun is dropping below the horizon. You hear something move behind you in the dark. You turn, and two eyes catch the last of the light, watching you. In 1924, a scientist named Raymond Dart found a skull in South Africa. It belonged to a child, maybe 3 years old. And punched straight through both eye sockets were two holes, perfectly spaced to match the fangs of a leopard. That child wasn't an accident. That child was food. For most of human history, we weren't the ones doing the hunting. We were on the menu. Picture a cave lion, a quarter bigger than any lion alive today, hunting in a group under moonlight. Picture the saber-tooth cat, 600 pounds of muscle, with canines as long as your forearm, built to punch straight through the throat of anything it caught. It didn't chase. It waited in the grass, and it exploded. Then there was the short-faced bear, standing over 11 feet tall, built for running, not shuffling. It could hit 40 miles an hour. If it saw you, there was no outrunning it. The cave hyenas hunted in packs of 20 or more, with a bite strong enough to crack straight through bone. Your bite force is around 160 pounds per square inch. Theirs was closer to 1,100. Dire wolves ran in packs of 30. Giant birds in South America stood 10 feet tall, with beaks that could crack a skull open like an egg. And here's the part that should scare you the most. We had nothing. No claws. No fangs. Flat, useless teeth. Even a chimpanzee, 3 times stronger than a grown man, still gets killed by leopards. We were weaker than that. We couldn't outrun any of these animals. We couldn't outclimb them. We couldn't fight them. By every measure that matters in nature, we should have disappeared a long time ago. But we didn't. They did. Every single predator on that list is extinct. And we're still here, standing in a kitchen, deciding what to have for dinner. So what changed? How does the weakest animal in the room become the one still standing at the end? It starts with something we learned to do to them. In 2019, archaeologists in a town called Tultepec, just outside Mexico City, found something no one had ever seen before. 2 pits dug straight into the ground, almost 6 feet deep, over 80 feet wide, with walls cut nearly straight up and down, impossible to climb out of. Inside, they found more than 800 bones, from at least 14 woolly mammoths. One of the skulls still had a spear wound in it. This wasn't luck. This wasn't one hunter stumbling onto a mammoth stuck in a swamp. Archaeologists think it took 20 to 30 people working together at night, carrying fire. Torches raised, shouting, banging sticks, pushing a single mammoth away from the safety of its herd, step by step in the dark toward that pit. The animal would have felt the ground disappear under its front legs. And then it would fall, and it couldn't climb back out. Nearly 6 feet down, with walls too steep to grip. 20 to 30 people, coordinating in the dark, against an animal that outweighed all of them combined. For a long time, there was a different story people believed, that hunters used to drive whole herds of mammoths off cliffs, stampeding them to their deaths. It's a dramatic image. But when scientists went back and studied the ground at one of those famous cliff sites, the story fell apart. The land made it almost impossible. What looked like a mass execution was probably just bones, piling up naturally, at a place people came back to again and again. The truth turned out to be less cinematic, and somehow more impressive. No stampede, no house, just patience, a trap built with intention, and a plan that could take down the largest land animal walking the earth. But mammoths were slow, and once separated from the herd, they were trapped in a hole they couldn't leave. Not every animal was going to be that easy. Some animals could run fast, faster than any human alive in a straight line. But here's the thing nothing else on the savanna could do: run for hours. Most animals cool down by panting. That only works so long before they overheat. Humans sweat through nearly every inch of skin. That means we can keep moving in the heat of the day, long after everything else has to stop and rest. So, a hunter wouldn't sprint. He'd start jogging. Slow, steady, just fast enough to keep an antelope moving, never quite letting it rest, never quite letting it cool down. He'd read the ground as he moved. A broken twig, a hoof print pressed deep in soft dirt, telling him the animal had bolted here, not walked. Small signs, stacked one after another, keeping him on the trail, even on the stretches where he couldn't see the animal at all. The animal runs. It stops to catch its breath. The hunter is still coming. It runs again. Hour 1, hour 2, hour 4. By hour 5 or 6, the animal isn't running from fear anymore. It's dying from heat, its body shutting down, legs barely holding it up. And the hunter, tired but still walking, finally catches up, picks up a rock, and finishes it. No spear, no trap, just 2 legs and the will to keep moving after everything else has given up. Hunters in the Kalahari Desert still do this today, almost exactly the same way it was done thousands of years ago. But you can't outrun everything. Some animals don't run in open country. Some animals hide and wait and hunt you back. For those, you needed something sharper than patience. Somewhere around 200,000 to 300,000 years ago, in what's now Germany, a group of early humans sat hidden by a lake, waiting. They weren't even our species yet. In their hands, wooden spears. Not sticks sharpened in a hurry. Spears carved and balanced with real precision, over 6 feet long, weighted at the base, tapered at the tip, shaped almost like a javelin an athlete would throw today. Someone spent hours shaping that wood. Someone tested the balance in their hand before they ever threw it at something alive. They waited for wild horses to come down to drink. Then they attacked, together. Not one hunter against one horse. A coordinated group, closing in from more than one direction, using the water at their backs to cut off any escape. Archaeologists later found the bones of at least 20 horses at that lake, right beside the spears. 20 horses. From one group, long before modern humans even existed. That means before we could speak the way we do now, before there was fire in every camp, our ancestors already understood something most predators never figure out. Hunting isn't just about strength. It's about a plan. It's about knowing where the animal will go and putting your people there first. Someone had to know the horse's route to the water. Someone had to signal when to move and when to hold still. But close-range hunting had a price. Getting a spear into a horse, or a bison, or anything with hooves and panic in its eyes meant standing close enough to be kicked, gored, or trampled. And that price didn't always come from the animal you were hunting. Scientists studying old Neanderthal bones noticed something strange. A pattern of broken bones, mostly in the head, neck, and upper body. Almost no injuries lower down in the legs. They compared it to injury records from a very specific group of people alive today, rodeo riders. The theory is this: close-range hunting with a spear put hunters right up against a wounded, panicking animal, one that could still kick, gore, or slam a grown man into the ground with its head. Imagine driving a spear into the side of a bison twice your weight, only to have it wheel around, furious, and throw the last of its strength straight back at you. Getting close enough to kill it meant risking getting hurt the exact same way. So the same skill that put meat on the fire could also be the reason you never made it home. A snapped rib, a crushed hand, an animal thrashing in its last seconds taking you down with it. And if the animal didn't get you outright, something else might. Slower, quieter. There was no antibiotic waiting in a cabinet. A cut from a broken bone, a gash from a horn, a wound that should have healed clean, Instead, it swells, turns hot, turns dangerous. Scientists studying ancient bones have found signs of infection burned right into the surface, evidence of people who survived the injury itself, only to be slowly killed by what came after, days spent lying still in a cave, waiting to see which way the fever would go. And when the hunt failed and hunger set in, people took risks they wouldn't take on a full stomach. A handful of unfamiliar berries. A cut of meat that smelled a little too strong, eaten anyway, because the alternative was going another day with nothing. Sometimes the animal never touched you. The wound did, or the hunger did. But even knowing all of that, humans didn't stop hunting. They got better at it. In a cave called saber-tooth on the coast of South Africa, archaeologists found a small, sharpened point made of bone, just over 60,000 years old. To find out what it really was, researchers carved 7 replicas out of fresh bone, tied them to reed shafts, strung a bow with wood and antelope tendon, and fired them, again and again, into the carcass of a goat. Then they compared the damage. Under a microscope, the ancient point and the replicas showed the exact same kind of cracking, the same impact marks. It was an arrowhead, the oldest one we know of. And that changed the range of the fight. A spear meant standing close enough to be gored. You had to grip the shaft, feel the animal's weight fighting back through the wood. A bow meant standing back, 30 feet, 40 feet, and still ending it. No animal charging you, no horn an inch from your ribs, just distance and aim. For the first time, killing didn't have to mean risking your own life in the same breath. But a weapon that can drop a bison from 40 feet away doesn't know the difference between an animal and a man. And once that weapon existed, it was only a matter of time before it got used on someone wearing the same face as you. Along the Nile River, in what's now Sudan, archaeologists dug up a burial ground holding the remains of 61 people. Men, women, children. Roughly 2 out of every 3 had wounds from thrown weapons, spear points, arrowheads, still lodged in bone. But here's the detail that changes the whole picture. Some of those wounds were old, healed, which means these weren't people caught in a single battle. Some of them had already survived one attack and lived on for months, maybe years, before a second attack finally killed them. Raid after raid, over generations, between groups who likely knew each other's faces. This wasn't one violent afternoon. This was something that happened again and again, between neighboring groups over a very long time. And it wasn't an isolated case. Along a lake in what's now Kenya, researchers found the remains of a small group, showing that same kind of violence. Crushed skulls, broken hands. 2 of them found with their wrists bound, as if they never had a chance to run. These weren't settled farmers guarding land. These were nomads. People who, in theory, could have just packed up and walked away. They didn't get the chance to. Because here's the truth nobody wants to sit with. The deadliest predator early humans ever faced wasn't a lion in the grass or a bear built like a tank. It was another human, holding the exact same spear you were holding, trained by the exact same hunt, hungry for the exact same thing. Every weapon we built to bring down an animal could be turned, in a heartbeat, on the person standing next to you. The same steady hand, the same practice throw. The only thing that changed was the target. We didn't just learn how to kill to survive. We learned that the thing most likely to kill us could look exactly like us. Somewhere along the way, that changed. Not because the danger disappeared, because we built things to stand between us and it. Laws, police, courts. A stranger whose entire job is to answer if something goes wrong in the middle of the night. We handed the responsibility of violence over to a system, instead of carrying it ourselves, alone, with a spear in our hand. And we handed the responsibility of killing for food to someone else, too. A supply chain most of us will never see, stretching from a farm, to a truck, to a shelf under fluorescent light. Someone, somewhere, still does that work. But almost none of us have to. That's what we gained. Safety, distance, the ability to walk to a fridge at 2 in the morning without a single thought about what it took to get that steak there. But something got lost in that trade too. A kind of awareness our ancestors never got to switch off. The instinct to notice a sound in the dark. The habit of depending on the people around you completely, because your life actually depended on it. We traded that constant quiet vigilance for a locked door and 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep. So the next time you're up late, thirsty, and you open that fridge, look at that steak sitting there, wrapped up, ready, waiting for tomorrow. For nearly all of human history, getting that piece of meat onto a plate meant putting your own life on the line, against an animal built to kill you. Or worse, against someone who looked exactly like you. You didn't have to do any of that. Someone, a very long time ago, already did. Every single night, without knowing it, without a fridge, without a lock on the door.